Okay, so I want to just talk about a couple of things real quick. First of all, this class is usually geared towards real estate agents. However, um, any sales business, which we're all in, mortgage, real estate, insurance, financial advisor, whatever, right? You can still use this for your business. So if it says real estate, just change it to whatever profession you are in. So grab those. And also in the learning section, I will be putting perfect. Okay. I will be putting the complete business planning class with the PowerPoint and blah, blah, blah in there for you guys. So what I want to do is we're going to go through these handouts today, and I really want you guys to think about and get a pad and paper and just really think about like the questions that I'm asking you, because now is the best time to do a business plan. For the majority of the people, they either don't do a plan or they do a plan and they throw it in the drawer and they never look at it again. And then until it's like time to do your next year's business plan, right? So the reason why it is so important to do a 15-month business plan, and I learned this in Mike Ferry coaching, is because if you do a business plan in December, right, and you start working your plan in January, what happens is you're behind the eight ball because October, November, December, you went to the Halloween parties, Thanksgiving, took time off for Christmas and or the holidays, and you were not fully working your plan then. And in any sales business, we know that sales works in 90-day cycles. So what we do today is not going to bring us business immediately, right? It's the actions that we do today over the next October, November, December that is going to bring us the income in January, February, and March. So that is why we need a 15-month business plan, because we really need to be working our plan now. Because if we want to crush our first quarter goals, it's the activities that we're doing today that is going to allow us to crush our first quarter goals. If we start working that plan January 1st, well, by second quarter, we're already behind the eight ball. So we're going to go over all of these documents that I have here for you guys. I'm going to share my screen. And yes, I always have a gazillion tabs up. But I want to start with, we're not starting with the numbers because the numbers do not matter until you really figure out what your why is. And the reason why your why is so incredibly important is because your why is going to make you do the things that you do not want to do, right? So if you don't like lead generation, right, or you don't want to be up at 6 a.m., your why is what's going to make you do those things that you don't want to do. So we always want to make sure that we have a really strong understanding about why we're doing what we're doing and what our why is, right? Why are we doing this? Is it to be able to provide for your family? Is it to be able to travel? What is it? Because if we just go through the motions in life, the next thing you know, we're going to be old and wish we did a lot of other things that we never got to do. So I really want you to think about, like, why did you get into real estate or mortgage or insurance or whatever business you're in? Like, what was that why? And for me, I actually just kind of stumbled into it. Like, I graduated college, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I moved from Boston to Tampa, Florida. I did not know anybody except my one friend who was begging me to move out there. And I started, looking for a job, and I bumped into AmeriQuest Mortgage way back in the day. And that's how it all started, right? But what I realized in that whole thing, and I read Rich Dad Poor Dad and was like, this book, this is what I want to do. So I ended up getting my real estate license also. And my why was to be able to make a lot of money, which in this business, you can make a lot of money, but you can also make no money at all if you don't have a plan or you don't follow a daily schedule, right? So my why was to be able to make money, travel the world, have passive income, and my why has changed. So now that I'm older, my why is to be able to pay for my kids' college that is so freaking expensive. Do not send your kids to the University of Miami because it is insane. But I don't want her to have student loans, right? I want to be able to travel the world. So my why now is totally different than when I got started, but I want you to kind of take yourself back to like what made you get into the business, right? Were you looking for time freedom, which we all know, if we don't set this business up right, there is no time freedom in this business. So, what is it that you were looking to get out of the business? Was it more money? Was it more flexibility? Was it more freedom? Was it to be able to go to your kids' games, right? And then I want you to really dig deep and maybe take some time this weekend and figure out, why do you want that? Like, not surface level, but deep, deep, deep down inside. What is that, right? What is your why? And then more importantly, why is it important to you? So take some time this weekend and just kind of really go through this exercise on what is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? And sometimes we forget, right? Like we don't even, we're just like in the trenches. We don't really remember what our why was, or why, why we're doing this. So take a step back and really start to figure that out, because you might need to change some things in your business for next year, right? And the great thing is that we can always make a change. So if you're kind of in the trenches and you're not enjoying the way that you're doing business now, well, then let's start to figure out what it is that has to change so that you can make those changes for next year. And then I want you to think about, like, where do you see yourself in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? I was listening to a podcast today, David Bear, who's awesome. And he said, I just turned 50 today. And I was like, 50. And in my mind, it was so far away until I realized it is not far away for me. Like, literally, I'm going to be 46 in December. So it's not that far away. And time creeps up on us. So where do you want to see yourself 1 year from now, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now? And I'm in a pivotal point, right, at my age, where I'm starting to think, okay, what do I want to accomplish over these next 20 years? And then what would my retirement look like, right? And so a couple things that that you want to kind of start to think about is, where do you see yourself over the next couple of years, both in your business and then also personally, right? Where do you see yourself with your health? Where do you see yourself with the things that you want to do or accomplish? Maybe you want to pay off your house. Maybe you want to buy investment properties. Maybe you want to get started in crypto. What is it that you want to do? So really brainstorm on just jotting down everything that excites you in your life and getting that passion back. Because a lot of times we don't connect our goals with our why, right? And that is when that connection happens. That's when we do the things that we don't really want to be doing. Waking up early, right? Doing the things that we don't want to do, lead generation, having a stricter schedule. Our why is going to help us do that. And we want to make sure that we constantly have that in front of you. So if you do a vision board or something like that, you can do just a 1 year vision board or a 3 year vision board on what it is that you're looking for in life. And I do want to show you guys something real quick. My website, if you go to realestatesecretsunlock.com and then you go to the vault, just jot this down. I also have these little training. You guys have all the handouts, so you don't have to like put anything in there, but I have all of these little mini training videos. So everything that I'm going to go over right now, you can come here and watch the videos this weekend or whenever you kind of go back through this. So after talking about the why, I want to talk about your schedule, because a lot of times people do not do the things that they know they should be doing not because they don't want to do it. It's because they never put it in their schedule, right? They never set aside time to do certain things. And when I was selling real estate and I was in Mike Ferry, I had a super strict schedule. And I hated it, to be honest with you. So when I got into mortgage, like got back into mortgage, and felt free. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much free time, freedom. Like I don't have to wake up and cold call expired listings anymore. I feel so much better. But that actually wasn't the best thing for me because having a schedule, and it's just like going to the gym, I can tell you this because I am out of schedule right now, is it's like when you go to the gym, right? In the beginning, it's very difficult to consistently go there, but once you start going to the gym, it feels weird if you don't go. The same thing is with a schedule. So if you are not on a schedule right now, it is difficult to get back into the habit. I am like I'm talking to myself right now, right? It's difficult to get back into the habit of being at your desk at 9 a.m. But the more you do it, the more it's going to be weird. And this is where the magic begins. It's with consistency and it's with doing the things that you know you need to be doing every single day. So the one thing that I do not, do not ever miss is my morning routine. I have a little area in my room, and it's got like my hot pink couch and my meditation stuff and blah, blah, blah. So I followed Hale Elrod's The Miracle Morning. I don't follow like all of his savers, which is like silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. But I do some of that every day. So I'll like, for example, today I did Insight Timer. I did a meditation. I read 10 pages of a book. I did not work out, but I will tonight. And I did my visualization. I did my affirmations. So I do something like that every single morning for about 45 minutes. And this is what sets the day up. Time blocking number two, and your times can be different, right? But time blocking number two is your lead gen. Now that your mind is right, you have to go into lead generation because the rejection there, right, is a lot stronger and you have to have a strong mindset. And if you have deals falling apart or closings not happening, that affects your mind. So if you wake up in the morning and you attack or tackle all of your problems first, you're not going to want to generate more leads and be like, come work with me. You're going to feel like defeated. So you want to make sure that you get your head in the game in the morning and then you move into your time blocking lead generation, money making activities. After that, you're going to go into a little bit more lenient structure. So that could be your sales and marketing. It could be content creation. It could be working your business, working your deals, stuff like that. So this was the schedule when I sold real estate and was extremely structured. This was my schedule. And then my listing appointments, because I worked primarily with sellers, was every day, 2 to 4 listing appointments. That was it. No nights, except once a week I would work a night. I never worked weekends. So I know if you're in real estate and you're hearing me say that, you're probably like, oh my God, how can you not work weekends? How? I just didn't. So I want you to start to think about where in your life you're doing things that you don't want to be doing, but you're doing it because you feel like you have to do it because that's just what people do in this type of job. Do not live like that because once you set standards, your own standards, people abide by them, right? People will, if you don't want to show homes on a Saturday, then don't. Find a time that works for your clients during the week at night if they work during the week, right? So don't always, like, I want you to also kind of think about like what your standards are in your business and incorporate that into your business plan. The second thing we're going to go over is Mr. T. So what I call this is, and these are, like I said, you can go back and watch the videos this weekend. But this is an exercise to really start to figure out like where in your business you're doing things that is not productive. So what I want you to do is make a list on the second page on all of the things that you need to start doing. And it can be personal. You can print this out twice and you can type in here, actually. You don't have to print it out. I'm a paper person and I like writing on paper. But if you want to save the trees, then just fill it in here. So what is it that you need to start doing? It could be going to the gym. It could be starting a morning routine. It could be lead generating consistently. It could be whatever. Okay. What do you need to stop doing? So that could be checking your email all day long. It could be, stop going to bed late at night. It could be whatever. What do you need to do more of? Because this is working in my business and I'm not doing enough of it. And then what do you need to do less of? So what are some of the things that you're doing that you still need to do it, but you need to do less of it? So I could tell you for me, and I'm a lot better now, email was a huge time suck for me. I used to get bombarded in my emails, and then I became very reactive in my day because I was just reacting to all of these emails. So I had to really make a habit of not checking my email all the time, right? So maybe that's something that you're doing, getting sucked into your emails. So use this to kind of identify where in your day, and you can even like just put it on the side and notice, do a time and motion study, maybe time block an hour and like make little notes. Maybe you're scrolling social media too much, right? So make little notes on what it is you're doing throughout the day that you either need to, or what's working. Hey, this is working. I need to do more of this. Okay. The second thing we're going to talk about is automation and leverage. So if you are on this, you're more than likely on the CRM. There might be some people that are not on the CRM, but the CRM can automate so much for you, right? And same with virtual assistants. So where in your business are you doing repetitive tasks? Where in your emails, let's talk about an email, for example, are you sending out an email, the same email, to multiple people? Maybe you're in real estate and you have your listing presentation that goes out. And every time you send the listing presentation out, you send this, nice little email, whatever, right? That is something that can be automated and create a template for it or a snippet that we call in the CRM. So you don't have to retype that every single time. Same thing with your loan application emails. Are you sending out the same initial loan application email? That's something that can be automated, right? Where in your sales process can you automate things, or where can you leverage? When I sold real estate, inputting a listing into the MLS, I'd rather like stick a needle in my eye. It is so annoying, and trying to upload pictures and blah, blah, blah. I had somebody else do that for me. I can't figure out Canva for the life of me. I can go in there and make a couple changes, but then every time I try to change something, delete something, blah, 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 it's so frustrating. So I have a virtual assistant that does all of my Canva thumbnails, and I just send her, hey, do this thumbnail. Probably takes her a second, but I cannot figure it out. So what do you enjoy doing in your business? And what do you need to outsource because you don't enjoy doing it and you don't need to be doing it, right? So I want you to pick 2 to 3 things. If you have read the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller, that is something that I want you to keep in your mind also when we're going through this, because a lot of times, and I am guilty of this also, we want to do so many different things. We want to do this, and we have this idea and that idea and this idea and that idea. What happens is we never do anything because we never give it time to see if this is actually going to work. So I want you to think about 2 or 3 things that you're going to give it time in your business. So pick 2 to 3 things that you're going to automate, right? Whether it's texting, voicemails, emails, voicemail drops. You can do voicemail drops, drip campaigns. What are 2 to 3 things that you need to automate? Okay. And then what are 2 to 3 things that you need to leverage? Transaction coordinator. That's another one. If you're in real estate, going from contract to close, that is so annoying. You got to remember, when is the, contract date? When is the mortgage contingency date due? When is the inspection due? The title, da, da, da. So maybe you have somebody else do that for you. And if you guys need assistance with finding leverage, let me know, because I have the people. Okay. So the next thing that we are going to go over is when you start to analyze your business, okay, I want you to think about where is the majority of your business coming from? Is it coming from real estate agent referrals, financial advisors, doing courses, doing trainings at the Board of Realtors? I can tell you, for me, all of the majority of my business when I sold real estate came from expired listings. I cold called expired listings 5 days a week from 8 to 11. It was not fun, but I did it. But I was also with a great group of other people that were doing the same thing nationwide, not in my office. I was the only one doing it in my office. But I was able to move from Southwest Florida to Miami, not knowing a single person, not speaking Spanish, which can be a requirement in some parts, not knowing how to get around, and became one of the top agents in my office from cold calling. Solely from cold calling. I got my first deal in 30 days from cold calling expired listings. Okay. So that is where the majority of my business came from. Now, I did get business from past clients. I did get business from online, Zillow and stuff like that. I did not pay for Zillow leads. But that was in real estate. In mortgage, the majority of my business comes from real estate agents, online social media, and past client referrals. So where is your business coming from? And if the majority of your business is coming from your past client referrals, do more outreach to your past client referrals. Do more things for them. Maybe a goal is for you to have a client appreciation event at your house or somewhere that you want to bring, everybody together. I was doing that at my house. I haven't done that in a while, and that's one thing I'm probably going to get back into doing. Right. And that doesn't I didn't just invite my clients, I invited the real estate agents on both sides of the deal to the party. So then you're getting in front of more people, and I invited sponsors and stuff like that. So where is your business coming from? You want to do more of that. Where are you spending time and energy to get business, but it's not working? So stop doing that. And then what do you need to do more of? What do you need to stop doing? And analyze the top 4 sources that your business is coming from. Okay. And then I want you to think about what you need to implement in your business. And it does not have to be like implementation. It could be eliminating something. Maybe you're doing something that's just not bringing you business. I'll give you an example. I was doing a ton of courses for the Board of Realtors, and we would have crazy turnouts, like 100 people. It was awesome. After COVID, the turnout was so low. So I would put together a course to go in and teach at the Board of Realtors, and maybe 5 people would show up. So that became a waste of my time, right? I'm not going to do that. So what is it? So I stopped doing that, and I do it on Zoom, because if, we're not having a ton of people, well, then it doesn't really matter. I didn't have to drive 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back, all this other stuff. So what do you need to eliminate, and what do you need to do more of? And what do you need to implement? Let me get rid of. So we're going to talk about the numbers and go through the numbers that I have for you guys on the plan. Does anybody have any questions for me before we do that? No? This is a pretty quick class too. All right, so let me just look at something. Q&A, okay. Okay, So the 3-month business plan is something that I want you guys to think about because, and then we're going to go through the regular business plan. But as we talked about, real estate, mortgage, insurance, whatever business you're in, it works in 90-day cycles. So that things that you're going to do now until the end of the year is what is going to give you the income to have an amazing Christmas holiday or whatever you celebrate, and in a really good first quarter. So I want you to put in today's date, or maybe you can do October 1st, and the end date would be December 31st. And what is your number goal? How many deals do you want to do between now and December 31st? And then how much money, just take your average commission check, okay? So how much money would that be? We always want to focus on the numbers, not on the money. Because if we focus on the numbers, the money is going to be there. If we focus on the money, what happens is you have one good deal and then you stop doing everything that you were supposed to be doing. And then you have 6 months of nothing, right? It's that sales roller coaster that I talk about all the time. So you want to focus on how many deals do you want to do and then how much money that would bring. And then what is your why? Like why do you want to do that? Right. And it can't just be, well, because that's how many deals I want to do. It's like, I'm in competition with myself and it's a numbers game. No, like really, what would that change for you? Can it eliminate, maybe credit card debt? Can it pay down your mortgage? Can it make you go on an amazing vacation? Can you give your kids or your grandkids an amazing Christmas holiday, right? So what is your why for that? And then what is going to be your reward, right? What are you going to do for yourself? Maybe you're going to buy yourself like a Louis Vuitton purse, or maybe you're going to buy yourself a Rolex or whatever it is. So what is your reward going to be when you accomplish that? And actually, what we should be adding here is what are you going to do to you if you do not accomplish it? And if you guys are in an office or a team, why don't you have some sort of goal or challenge? If I don't accomplish this goal, I'm going to pay you $1,000 or however much, right? How much money have I made year to date, right? So I want you to look at your numbers, and the B and the S is buyer seller. So if you're in mortgage, you can change that to R and P, refinance purchase, okay? So that way you're kind of taking a look at how many refinances have I done, how many purchases have I done. Maybe if you're on a team, you can have an application challenge, right? Maybe for the month of October, you have a goal of how many people can get, who gets the most applications or who gets the most listings or who gets the most buyer sales for the month of October, and you give a prize, right? So look at though how much you have closed so far this year, number wise, and then money wise, okay? And then this is something that I do for my lead generation course that I have. So it does make sense now, but because I haven't given you a lot of lead gen ideas, I'm sure you guys all have your own. Think about your 3 passive lead generation ideas that you like doing. Social media marketing, content, email marketing, sending thank you notes. Those are passive, right? Active is actually picking up the phone and calling somebody. Active is actually door knocking. Active is actually going to a networking event and asking for coffee appointments or business, right? So that is active. Passive is doing something, for hopes that you might get something in return. Or, you may or may not. It's kind of keeping you top of mind. So then out of those 3, what is the one that's going to fit into your daily schedule, your daily routine, and is the easiest to commit to? A lot of times, when we're trying to make a change in our lives, we try to change everything at once, and then we don't make a change for anything. So it's like, I'm going to go to the gym, eat healthy, all of these things, wake up at 5 a.m. when you're not doing any of it right now. Right? So you don't want to do that. Just pick one thing. If you're not doing any passive lead generation things right now, what is the one thing that you enjoy doing that is easy, that you will commit to, that fits within your schedule, and you're going to commit to this one thing for the next 90 days? Okay. And then what are ways that you can implement the idea? So if it is social media, okay, I'm going to give you a couple of ideas. If it is social media, one of the things that you can do is auto populate your posting with the CRM, right? That is one of the things that you can do. The second thing that you can do is get into different groups, maybe go into different social media Facebook groups, and you're gonna like comment on people's stuff, bring value, and then also post something to try and get business from it. Right. So really kind of brainstorm on all of the different things that you can do with that one idea. The second thing that you're going to do is how many contacts are you going to make each work day? And if you're in Done by One, you know we have the weekly guides. So those weekly guides, when it talks about like 5 past clients, 5 current clients, that's a day. That's not for the entire week, right? So think about how many you're going to commit to. And if you're not committing to any right now, right, you're not making these outbound outreach calls or automations right now, how many are you going to commit to, right? You don't want to say 30 a day, which is what I did when I sold real estate. 30 a day, 5 days a week. That's a lot. It's 10 contacts an hour that you have to have conversations with. And it is a lot, but it took me a 3-line dialer with Mojo and a lot of work to get there. So when I started, it was 10 a day, right? The second thing is, what are the top 3 active lead generation ideas that you like, right? The top 3 that you like. So lead gen would be picking up the phone and calling your past clients and checking in and asking them, who else do they know that might be looking to refinance or buy a home right now? Okay. That is the difference between a passive lead gen call, which would be just calling and shooting the shit for 30 minutes, or asking for the business and keeping that short because you know you need to make the next call. Okay. The second could be, if you're in real estate, maybe you want to start door knocking or going, hosting, I don't know, like cold calling or whatever. So 3 active lead gens that you like, and then just pick one that you're going to commit to over the next 90 days that will fit into your schedule. And that's the easiest to commit. And then what are ways that you can implement, once again, that idea, and how many contacts are you going to make? And then what are 2 things that I will commit to and implement in my business for the next 3 months to increase my productivity? So maybe that could be reading a new business, book. That could maybe mean having the bookends in your day. So what I mean by that, and I can tell you that this is something I'm just trying to get back into the habit of doing, but what a bookend means is you start your day with, let's just say, your morning routine, and you bookend your day with another routine that is going to set you up for the next day. So for example, when I wasn't going to the gym and I wanted to start going to the gym, I swear to God, I actually slept in my gym clothes. I know it sounds crazy, but I slept in my gym clothes. I had my sneakers by the bed, so I would get up and just get out. And this is when my kids were littler, and I was trying to go to the gym at 5:30 so I could be home to get the breakfast done, get them out the door for school. So I would have to bookend my night with a routine that was going to set me up for the morning. Now, a bookend for me would be to read a business book, write down 10 things I'm grateful for, listen to a meditation before going to bed, review my goals for the next day, have my list of who I'm actively going to be reaching out to. So doing that the night before sets you up, right? Plus, it's also programming your subconscious mind while you sleep. So that sets you up for that next day. So I want you to then brainstorm with yourself on how are you going to do this. And you want to remember that money is not in leads. If we're talking about active prospecting, okay? The money is not in the leads. You can generate thousands of leads. But if you do not follow up with your leads, somebody else is, and you're not going to close any deals. So when you think about active prospecting and your lead generation routines, you need to think about your lead follow-up process, because if you don't have a lead follow-up process, then you're not going to be generating or closing deals. And you're going to say, well, why am I doing this in the first place? Anyways, I'm calling all these people, or I'm generating all these leads and nobody's closing them. And, I'm not closing them, blah, blah, blah. So think about your lead gen, and then think about your lead follow-up. What is that going to look like, and where does that fit into your daily schedule? And if you do all of this for 90 days, what is that going to mean for your business, your family, and your future, right? So this is your 3-month plan for now until the end of the year, okay? And if anybody wants to share their plan with the group, that would be awesome. So we're going to get into the numbers now and think about any questions that you guys might have. But first of all, I wanted to, when we do a 15-month business plan, you always want to print the fourth quarter twice, because we are going, this fourth quarter of 2025 gets incorporated into your 2026 business plan. So you have, what is your why for the fourth quarter, which is what we kind of just went over. What is your reward? How many people do you want to serve number-wise, dollar-wise, okay? What days are you going to take off? And stick to this. Get your calendar out. This is now, I feel like, conference season. That's why I will not be having a class next week, because I will be in Dallas for a conference. So it is going to be super busy. There's a lot going on. If you have kids or grandkids, they're busy. There's always events. There's, so much stuff going on. So what days are you going to take off, and stick to it, right? In October, November, December, how many days are you going to work each month? Are there any holidays? Are you going to be away? So like, what are your working days? What is your morning routine? What do you want to do in the morning? Okay. How many new contacts are you going to make each day? How many existing contacts are you going to make each day? So you want to have touch points and trust points, which are nurture calls, right? So you want to just make sure that you are talking to not only your past clients, but you want to call your sphere of influence. So many times, we see somebody, a family member, friend, go ahead and list their home with somebody else, or you heard that they got a mortgage through somebody else, and you're like, why didn't they call me? I just actually got an application yesterday, and the guy who is like, what, my dad is doing the real estate. He's a great family friend. Yes, he lives in Massachusetts, but he's buying in Florida. And you know what he said? I totally just forgot that, you do real estate. Well, is that his fault or mine? It's mine, right? It's my fault. But he's not on social media, and I haven't called him in years. So who are the people that you need to maybe reach out to that you haven't stayed in touch with, that are your family? That's your friends. These are easy calls to make, right? Quick call. Hey, I've been thinking about you a lot lately. I just wanted to check in with you and see how everything's going. Da 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 da. And then bring up the fact that my job's been great. This has been a really busy year, or interest rates are down, or bring something up, right, about what you're doing. How many past clients are you going to call? I just saw 2 listings hit the market, and they listed with not the same agent that they bought the home with, because I did the mortgage. So if you subscribe to Redder or whatever it's called, or anything like that, start to pay attention, okay, to the alerts where it's like blah 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 just listed their home, and see if it's with the same agent. Because if it's not, then it's that agent that's not consistently following up with their past clients either, right? So you want to make sure that and if you guys are on the CRM, that 12-month postcard, which I've done the whole automation, but I have not pulled the trigger on it yet. I am this week. But that is key. It's top of mind. You don't even need to do anything. And when you tag somebody in your CRM, it will automatically go to the 12-month automation postcard, or whatever automations you guys have set up. It's a set it and forget it thing. That is one thing that if you want to think about what you can automate and leverage, for your business, that is one of the things that I would be putting on there. Okay. How many thank you cards are you going to write? Just little thank you notes. In our Done by One weekly plans, it's 5 a week, right? Just you can write all 5 of them in one day. How many personal and business social media posts are you going to do? If you are trying to grow your business on social media, the last thing you want to do is bombard people with only business posts. It has to be a mix of personal and business because nobody really just wants to see all business. They want to see you. They want to get to know you. They want to see what's going on with you, what you're doing, what you enjoy, what you like to do. Lourdes is with, horses. If Erin is with cars, I know that because I see them on social media, right? So you want to post other things. Me is travel. So post different personal things as well. Okay. You don't want, when you do your social media, you also want to make sure that you're strategic. You don't want to just scroll through social media and spend an hour of doing nothing. Comment on people's posts, bring value to other people, bring knowledge, bring education. So you want to entertain, you want to educate, and then you want to ask for business. Entertain, educate, ask for business. And then what is your night routine? And think about Sunday night. When I sold real estate, every Sunday night, I went through my entire week on what it was I was doing. And I got away from that with the mortgage. But I would say this buyer or this seller is, I'm getting this listing. This is going under contract. So I would look at my week and I would just say things that were going to happen, whether I had a potential buyer for my listing or not. So look at your week and start to plan out your week. So this is a little more geared to real estate, but if you're in mortgage, it could be purchase and refinance. If you're in title, it can be title contracts. So how many appointments are you going to go on? How many contracts are you going to write? If you're in real estate, this is a big one. How many price reductions will you do? Are you going to do lunch and learns, face-to-face, Zoom, networking? So every single quarter is the same. The fourth one you're going to do twice, okay? Because you're going to do right now from October 1st to December 31st. That's why today is the best day for us to be going over this. And then you're going to do one for each quarter. But what you're also going to do is your annual plan, okay? So what you want to you want to definitely do your fourth quarter. But before you do your first, second, third, and fourth quarter for 2026, you're going to do your annual plan first. Because once you do the annual plan, then you will break it down into the quarters, okay? So when you think about your annual plan, it's going to be like, how many people over the next year, 2026, do you want to serve? What is that? Times it by your average commission check. What is that gross income goal? What is the actual goal? And then what is your net income after all business expenses? And I don't think I have this on here. Let me just check something. Oh, I do. Okay. How many new contacts are you going to make? So think about how many you can make times 5 or maybe times 4, right? How many days are you going to prospect? Maybe you say, I only want to prospect 3 hours, 3 days a week or 2 days a week or 1 day, whatever it is. So you're going to go through, and instead of buyer appointments, you guys change it to whatever profession you are in. But if you're in real estate, buyer appointments and buyer sales are different. You can go on 20 buyer appointments with 20 separate people and only close 10, right? So you want to start to look at your conversion ratio. And even if you're in another profession, mortgage, for example, we still have a conversion ratio. How many applications are we taking and how many are actually closing, right? That's a conversion ratio. How many conversations are we having and how many applications are we getting based on those conversations? With real estate, if you're cold calling, how many contacts am I making a day and how many listing appointments am I actually going on based on the conversations that I'm having? So then what is your average sales price and commission check? So you're going to do, oh, I'm sorry, this is the recap of last year. So then the same exact thing is going to be for your 2026. So you want to look and see, and it's good to do it now because it's going to get busy. So if you have a tally right now as to how many deals you've closed, and if you are and have been in the CRM for a while, it tracks it for you. It tracks your dollar volume. You can tag 2025 funded on all of your 2025 funded deals. By doing that, all you got to do is pull up the tag and every 2025 funded deal will pull up. If you haven't done that yet, I highly suggest you do that, and pull in a VA to do it for you. One other thing I want to mention on that real quick, you can tag your people. So like, for example, at rate 7-8, right? So then if you pull the tag up rate 7-8, everyone that's 7 to 8 pulls up, guess what? They all can refinance right now, right? So that is a way you can kind of track stuff within the CRM, and it also tracks your volume as well. So this is all stuff that we went over, right? We've already gone over this. So when you guys do these exercises and brainstorm with yourself, like take some time over the weekend, brainstorm with yourself. What was my 80%? When you start to look at all of your deals, where did the majority of them come from? Okay. So in order to achieve my goal, it's taking everything that we've done on those other pages and putting it all here on one simple page, because the other one is like brainstorm, brain dump. This is all getting together on one single page. So in order to achieve my goals, I need to do more of this. In order to achieve my goals, I need to eliminate this. And I want you to think about, what am I good at? You know, honestly, when one of the big things when I was in Mike Ferry coaching was prospecting. Everyone's got a prospect. That's how you get your business with him. It's prospecting. Expireds, FSBOs, that's what everybody does. They're not, you know, on the phones all day. Anyways, I hated it. And I started to build a job. Hey, I'm back in mortgage. If I had built my real estate business a different way, then maybe I would still, well, no. I like to travel too much, which is why I went back into mortgage, because I actually did love selling real estate, but it's more of a local thing, and I can't do that from Spain. So here I am. But what am I good at, right? So like, think about that, because what a lot of coaches do is they teach you to sharpen the tool that you're not good at. But that doesn't make sense, right? What are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? And you want to do more of that, right? You don't want to take the thing that you're not good at and try to improve it to become amazing. So what is it that you're good at, and how can those talents get you more business? Okay. What do I need to improve? So where are some of the things that you need to improve? It could just be waking up on time. Like, do it, there at one point, and it happened again today, but at one point I was a legit snoozeaholic. Literally, like, I would snooze for an hour. I don't know how my husband didn't kill me, because it would just be like snooze, 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 snooze for an entire hour. But the problem was that it was every single day for at least a year, until I recognized this is not working for me. I need to get up and get out of bed. Thank you, Mel Robbins. But what is it that you need to improve and to make your job or your life better? What do you need to automate? What do you need to delegate? And what do you need to leverage? And what do you need to systematize? And the systematize is huge, because this is where this separates good from great, in my opinion. Okay. Having systems in your business is what is going to give you the time freedom. And that is what you can incorporate into the CRM, is the systems, and then the SOPs, and putting them in that membership area. So when you bring in your new hire, all they got to do is go to the membership area and watch the training videos that you already have set up for them. So you don't have to retrain every single time you lose somebody, right? So what systems, and maybe that's a system that you need to put in place that's not in place right now. Right? What are some of the systems that you have to put in place for 2026? Don't make the mistake. Once again, the one thing, don't make the mistake of trying to do a million things. Maybe what we do is we pick one per quarter. Okay. So if it's what do I need to delegate? I need to delegate A, B, C. Maybe I need to delegate A, B, C, but A is going to be in 2020 in the first quarter one. B is going to be in quarter two. C is going to be in quarter three. And then if you want to add a D, it could be quarter four, right? So break it up like that, because if you try to do everything all at once, nothing is going to work. And it takes time to figure out what's working, what's not. Do we need to tweak it? And a lot of times we get into like the messy middle, right? So I want you to think about that and think about who is your next hire and why. And so your next hire in real estate could be a contract coordinator or a transaction coordinator or a virtual assistant to do content for you for social media. Um, it could be, whatever, right? So who is your next hire and why? And I want you, if you are thinking about bringing somebody else on, what is their role? How are you going to train them? Where in your schedule are you going to, be able to train them? Okay. So then I want you to go over your business expenses. Okay. So list all of your business expenses. You can pull your credit card statements over the past couple of months and list all of them and put your return on investment and how many leads has it generated. And this is what happens a lot of times. A lot of times we have these shiny objects, right? Shiny object syndrome. I have it all the time. I'm like, oh, I want this, I want that, da, da, da. But then what I don't do is implement whatever that shiny object is. Okay. So you want to get to the root of why did I buy this? What was it going to be for? I'll give you an example. Trendgram.io. If you're looking to increase your Instagram followers, do that on Trendgram. I don't even know how many I have right now. I'm never on Instagram. So that is why but I just eliminated it because I got my followers up, but I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram. So my assistant does all of my Instagram posts. Half the time I don't even know my login, right? So, and I think I have several Instagram accounts and I'm just all confused with that. So anyways, I can say to myself, I either am going to go all in looking at my business expenses. Okay. I know that pick the ones that you know that is of value and say, I am going to go all in on this, right? I am going to give it 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, the rest of the quarter, whatever it is that you want, 15 days. Okay. And I am going to go all in on this. And then I'm going to decide if I am going to keep it or if I am going to get rid of it. Is it working for me or is it not working for me? Okay. So look at all of your business expenses and then you're going to list ones that you want to eliminate. And then you want to list why, right? You're going to eliminate them. And if it's a reason why, the reason why is because, well, I'm really not utilizing it. Ask yourself, is this an expense that I should be utilizing? And if so, I'm going to give it X amount of days. Hedra is another business expense I'm paying for. It's like a video content creation thing. I've never once used it. I'm paying for it monthly. In my mind, it's a good investment, but I don't know because I haven't really got in there and used it, right? So that is something that I would be putting down here and saying, okay, I'm going to give it the next 30 days. Runway is another one, another video content creation thing, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to give it the next 30 days and play around with it and see if it's something that I'm going to utilize in my business. And then if it is, great, keep it. If not, eliminate. Okay. And then you're going to think about what your why is that you've already already came up with and what your reward is. So what is your reward at the end of 2026? If you achieve all of your goals, what is your reward? So that was a lot of business planning, but really more of me just explaining to you guys exactly, how to go about your business plan, why it's important to do a 15-month business plan, because you want to make sure that you are crushing your first quarter goals, and really getting deep into a lot of times business plans. I've been to business planning classes and it's all about the numbers, right? It's all about the this and the that. But like, if you don't attach a why to what you're doing, and really start to understand why you're doing what you're doing, then half the time you're never going to achieve your goals, right? Or you end up doing things in your business that you just don't enjoy that aspect of it. And then you build a business to hate instead of a business to love. And I see that all the time also. And I have been one of those people. So, was this helpful? Can you just drop a 1 in the chat if this was helpful? And does anybody have any questions for me or anything that you want me to go over? No questions. Okay. And everybody was able to pull, I'm assuming, those. I know Leah earlier had said she was able to. Let me check the Q&A. Okay, so everyone was able to pull all of these handouts. And once again, you can always go over to my, it's Real Estate Agents, Real Estate Secrets Unlocked, or Danielle Damianov, my name, and it will have, go to the vault. And then here is where all of those like little videos are. So you can take everything that we just went over and then work on it this weekend, and get yourself all ready for October 1st. You know, you want to make sure that you're getting yourself set up for 2026. I can't even believe it's already here. So that's crazy. But anyways, I hope everybody has a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you guys later. Just a reminder, next week we will not be having a call. I will be in Dallas. If anybody is in Dallas that would like to attend, it is free for anybody really, but usually loan officers and realtors. So if you want to come out to Dallas, it's going to be freaking amazing. So anyways, have a great rest of your week, guys. Great weekend, and I will talk to you later. Bye.